Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Pathfinder Kingmaker. I'm here with BringItDon. I reloaded an older save because I wanted to bring Lindsay here, and I couldn't leave without failing, so I just reloaded the autosave before entering the Rushlight Tournament. Brought Lindsay, and we're about back to where we were. I messed up somewhere, because I couldn't buy the Belt of Physical Perfection from that trader. I don't know where I goofed up, but I goofed up somewhere. Anyway,
and Lindsay was called forth.
We made all the other purchases that we had already made. So let's talk to Karn for real here. The gnome looks at you, suspicion in his little yellow eyes. You again. I mean, what can I do for you, Your Highness? Who are you? I told you already. The gnome's voice rises in anger. I'm a simple salesman. Not rich, not noble. Why would a king concern himself with me? He wouldn't. What is it you sell? Oops. What do you care? Fish and the like. Who might you recommend I meet here? No one. Everyone. How should I know? I'm just a simple salesman. Leave me be. I've heard a few curious words. Blood brush extract. And that you're no ordinary salesman, and your wares are far from mundane. Quiet. Quiet, I say. Gripping his sheath tightly, the gnome looks around anxiously before whispering. Too many people here. Too many eyes, ears. You want to talk business? Find me out in Patax. I'll remember you. Alright, farewell. Yes, yes, Your Highness. A great honor. Go have fun. Alright. Now let's explore the areas, make sure we get all the corners and stuff. Pass any perception checks. Alright, we grabbed this last time, I believe, as well. The Goblin Merchant, not interested. We will talk to him, clear out his dialogue options, but I think we talked to him last time anyway. Alright. Just keep going up this way. Walsh Cavalway. Several concerned dock workers crowd around a finely dressed half-elf who listens to the workers with imperious dignity. It's as we've been telling you, Judge. This is the third shipment in 2 months they've stolen from us. Can't keep that up. Doesn't matter how good the last year's business been. No cargo means no pay, and no pay means no new shipments. We asked you about the thefts before, and there's nothing changed. Where's the king's justice, Your Honor? Half-elf patiently motions for silence. It is true that pirates have taken route along the Patax River and attacked several shipments heading upriver. The king has... He pauses, noticing you for the first time. He adjusts his posture to stand taller and straightens his sash of office before continuing. King Aravetti shall address the problem soon. However, he will hear no formal complaints until after the Rushlight Tournament. In the meantime, he advises that travelers downriver take care of Littletown, or take care around Littletown. Until then, partake in the festivities and the king's generosity. If anyone has further questions or concerns, I am at your disposal. The gathered workers grumble and disperse, barely mollified by his response. A bright sash cuts across this man's chest, identifying him as a magistrate of Patax. He makes a shallow bow while keeping his head inclined upward, as if being polite while also conveying his superiority. May the king's law guide you at the Rushlight Tournament today. I am clearly addressing someone important, but I don't believe we've met. The half-elf motions to his sash. I'm the Honorable Walsh Kelvaway, a magistrate of Patax, judge of the people's concerns, and executor of the king's justice. I overheard you talking about stolen shipments. Is there a problem? Ah, yes, that. He sets his teeth into a practiced smile, though his teeth simply or briefly grind together. An outbreak of river piracy has caused some consternation among the citizens. Simply avoid or exercise caution near Littletown in the meantime. Perhaps Patax would benefit from somebody who has a history of vanquishing bandits. Let us be clear, declares the magistrate, narrowing his eyes with disdain. Patax's armed forces are entirely capable of handling these criminals. There's no need for would-be heroes or aspiring vigilantes to get involved, much less foreign interests. I recommend enjoying the rest of the festival. How can he be so deaf to the people's woes, and he calls himself a judge? I can understand his reluctance to allow foreigners to meddle in his kingdom's affairs. What I cannot understand is such blatant negligence of justice and the safety of his subjects. Alright, a fine day to you.
Our path leads on.
I will leave you be, Lord of Justice. The Path of Splendid Glory. That's the one we already picked up. Alright, this is another exit. This area's pretty big. There's probably going to be a lot of people to talk to. Yeah, somehow I ended up being like 22,000 gold short. I don't know. I'm assuming because I don't have Reg, I couldn't sell Reg's armor. That's probably what happened. Another trader. Oh, cool. There's an item for kineticists. Lapis Lazuli Wyvern. This figurine is capable of summoning a barb-tongued wyvern once per day for 10 minutes. Barb-tongued wyvern's bite is just as deadly as its sting. Sure. Now I have 2 wyverns I can summon. There you go. That'll be nice. A Barker. You can buy every lock seen in the contest, and many more. Test your finesse against the finest dwarven locksmithing. Crack the lock, get the prize. Who will challenge the best dwarven locks of the 5 Kings Mountains? Oh, what's going on? Do you know your way around a lockpick? Why not show off your skills? Here we have the 3 chests bound with the finest dwarven locks straight from Highhelm. 1 attempt is 500 gold. Open 1 lock and you get some of your money back. 2 locks and you get back more than you paid. Open all 3 and you get the grand prize. Yeah, I'll give it a shot. Splendid. Come. The table's right here. I wish you the best of luck. Let's quick save. And we'll send Octavia, of course.
Ready and willing.
Did I equip her belt? I did. Okay. Let's go.
I did as you asked.
Cool.
Done and done.
Alright. I have a feeling this one's gonna probably be impossible or something. So I have like some stupid high roll. A trap.
Patience.
Here.
Alright, well she should get the chance to pick it again, right?
I did as you asked.
Hey, I got it. I can't believe it. He just popped the last lock. Like 1 in a million can do that. Something like that. Oh, we don't have poison stuff here. It's too late. She's already got the poison. Son of a gun. Do we have a potion of restoration left? Yes. Alright, so what are those gloves? Trap Springer's gloves. Oh, that's what she already has equipped. There you go. Actually, what does this do? All skill checks. Huh. Alright. Let's finish exploring. Yeah, I might just go and cast haste to get around a little faster. I'm assuming there's gonna be like a dungeon or something. Oh, here we go. Aymar Deschamps. Amid the tournament's frivolity, you notice that 2 men nearby are having a heated but hushed discussion. One wears flashy clothing fit for an entertainer, whereas the other wears the steel armor and red cloak of Patox's guard. It's difficult to hear what they're saying. Creep closer, listen to what they're saying. Although the 2 huddled near one another, their voices only occasionally rising above the ambient laughter and music, you're able to overhear the rest of their conversation. Holy crap, why would they make the font that color? Talwyn Halmarian? The guard sternly chides the entertainer. I don't know quite what you're up to, Aymar, but I know that look. You're planning something. Something dangerous. This isn't the time. You know he's become harsher about. Look around you, Talwyn, Aymar interjects. The celebration? It's just more blood and sport to cover for the ongoing troubles. We both helped shepherd it along. This is the future we had planned for, but it's the one the fates have dealt. Can we really stand by? He begins to raise his hand and strike a pose as if preparing to make a bold declaration. The guard's hand intercepts Aymar's arm, firmly preventing the entertainer from making a scene. You know how harsh justice is these days. I've seen it with my own eyes, and it would crush me to see noble intentions harming good people, especially like you. I appreciate those feelings. I do. Aymar gently removed Talwyn's hand from his arm. But what Patox needs now is action, and I intend to act. The entertainer looks up, spots you, and smiles as Talwyn frowns and sadly walks away. It's a rare day that life emulates screenplays, Your Highness. Could it be that heroes have arrived in the people's time of need? Oh, heroism. That's exactly what we do. So that symbol in his clothing? That marks him as a member of the Red Crescent Theater in Patox, a fellow artist. She eagerly extracts her journal. I imagine the stories we could write together. What seems to be the problem? I first arrived here 5 years ago, answering King Aravetti's call for artists and actors to make Patax a new crucible for the arts. Admittedly, the king dedicated plenty of money to building new theaters and schools. Art only thrives, though, when there are visitors and patrons to pay for it. Armor sidles closer, lowering his voice. That's where Aravetti has failed. The Patax River is our lifeline, connecting us to the outside world. River pirates know it, and they prey upon incoming travelers. You might think the king would thwart these pirates and defend his people, but no. He's only sent escorts to protect key shipments, leaving everyone else to the pirates' depredations. This tournament? It hides how we suffer from the king's inaction. Now when the king's soldiers cannot or will not vanquish the villains, what happens in the stories? He winks and gestures knowingly. That's right, heroes step in. Numerous victims have told me of the attacks, and I've pieced together the approximate location of the pirates' camp. If you can ambush and defeat them, traffic will flow, commerce will thrive, and you'll command the adoration of the boatmen, dock workers, artists, and more. Naturally, I'm prepared to write a play dramatizing your exploits. What do you say? And before I accept, I have questions. The wisest protagonist always has questions. What would you like to know? How many pirates are out there? It varies by the report. The camp could have a few dozen, so you might try to take them by surprise. Why hasn't the king acted against the pirates? That's unclear. It might be a lack of soldiers, or perhaps it's a lack of will. Leaving the pirates alone might also undercut political or economic enemies in some way. But at what cost? Is there a reward? Imar laughs nervously. The term starving artist was fairly common in Taldor. Perhaps you haven't heard it before. I do not have much wealth, but I can help you win the people's adoration. I also understand that among the theater's props are a few enchanted items of actual value, so perhaps I can entice you with those. Alright, I know enough to make my choice. I'm always ready to thwart river pirates. I accept. Imar grins eagerly. Then it's settled. I'll write down the directions real quick, and when you're done, you meet me in Patax so I can hear your account. No doubt the magistrate will be pleased to stop getting piracy complaints too. He draws a roll of parchment from a scroll tube. I hope you'll arrive in time to see my latest production. Speaking of which, I'm already late to oversee its rehearsal. Consider this a little preview. Good hunting. Alright, so we got part of his thingy. Screenplay, I guess. Now let's go up here. Keep exploring. Did I miss anybody? Because they seem to be marked. I think I talked to that trader over there, did I? Or is that where I got the wyvern from?
I will guide us.
I think it's where I got the wyvern from. Let's clear out the map. Oh, a manticore. Time-owned guests. Mysteriato. I can't interact with. Maybe because he's casting a spell. I'll come back to him. An owlbear. I should probably kill that while we're here. Just so it doesn't get loose.
Without a doubt.
Come, come, don't be shy. When a secret's not meant for mortal eyes. An ethereal battle within a vortex of the supernatural. Bets here. Place your bets. What's going on? Oh, something special indeed. I'd wager you've never seen the like. Before your eyes unfolds an epic battle between the world's greatest spellcasters. Mysteriato, the devil tamer of Cheliax, versus Zenmirgia, magistress of the Arisen witches. Who will win? Who would you bet on? Octavia moves very close to you, and barely suppressing her laughter, whispers, "Some charlatans, huh? Can't teach them a lesson? I found an interesting scroll here. Shall we see how they like it?" Don't. And you better return that scroll to whomever you found it from. You're such a bore. It's a holiday. Have some fun for once in your life. Come on, smile. No, I am, Ursi Khaleesi. An elf in leather armor scans the crowd intently. He seems to be the only one at this celebration not participating. He's also the only one besides the guards whose weapon isn't sealed. Your Highness, welcome to Patax. Ursi Khaleesi, captain of the city guard at your service. I'm sure that's how it's pronounced. Ursai Kailis, maybe. I don't know. You don't seem to be enjoying the celebration. The celebration is for you. For the city guard, it's just another workday. And right now, our work is preventing disruption of the festivities. I thought Patax was a city without laws. Where did the guards come from? Even pirates and smugglers have laws of a kind, and they need someone in to keep their order. The city guard was created by the trading houses not long after the city was founded. We're paid by the citizens. Not all of them like us, but they all understand things are better with us than without us. Aravetti seems to have a tight grip on his power over the city. Oh yes, the trading houses hate him, of course, but, well, first and foremost, he has hostages. Second, each of the families is afraid to act alone, but they're all incapable of acting together. Gasper Liakenza tried to unite them, but to no avail. It's probably for the best, frankly. The last thing we need is combat in the streets. Irvedi can be blamed for many things, but at least took power quickly, and without carnage. Now, Irvedi's enemies have nothing to do but sit around like High Priest Dre Yarns, praying for Calistria to send her giant holy wasp down to take him away. Who might you recommend I meet here? That depends on the purpose of your visit. If you're here on business, well, you already know King Irvedi, of course, but it'd be worth your time to speak with Gasper Liakenza, too. The trading houses may have lost much of their former power, but they're still capable of many things. And if you'd like to partake of our renowned culture, there's Anamid Belavara, the most famous bard in the city. Natalia Gitarin as well, headmaster at the academy. Just take care. They can't stand one another. I noticed that there's an attack option for every conversation we've had so far, but my weapon is sealed, so I can't actually engage. Oh wait, hold on. So I'm sure that's why they have the option to kill all these important people, because you can't actually attack them.
Our path leads
I
on.
see something.
Oh, hello. Alright, hold on a second. What? The Quest Electri. This is a magic storybook chronicling an adventuring party led by the lizardfolk sorcerer Shelburne Sparks and the human cavalier lord Jessiador of Taldor. It's ever-changing and ever-growing, as new chapters are added every day by the creator Shelburne's adoptive mother, the sorcerer bard Gloria Joannia Sparks. The tales of all their escapades are within this book, be they glorious or infamous. It also contains the stories of their other companions, Skrupple the Goblin Rogue, Sir Kenneth Kawanin the Human Wizard, Bristoff of Brolston the Dwarf Barbarian, and Wolfgang Hypton the Kitsune Slayer. Owner of this book reads one new chapter every time on rest, granting a benefit until the next rest, depending on which companion the chapter described, chapter selected randomly. So use Fireball 3 times a day. The chapter about Lord plus 5 confidence bonus to persuasion and use magic device checks. Skirple, 1 additional damage on each sneak attack. The chapter about Wolfgang Hypton grants plus 10 confidence on stealth checks. Make the target rage as a barbarian for 6 rounds. Lightning bolt 3 times. I'm just gonna give it to her, I think. I'm assuming it just goes in the belt slot, right? Enjoy your lantern, dwarf. Alright, and Stefano, this is the guy that was talking smack to us that we saved. Since your last encounter, Stefano Moscani has put on a little weight, and his appearance has become even more festive. As you approach, a polite smile blooms on his face. Why, if it isn't King Donald? Please, allow me to congratulate you on your success. So we meet again, and out on the battlefield, assuming this tournament isn't a trap, of course. Of course it's not. It may be hard to believe, but King Araveti's intentions are quite honest this time. Trust me, he'll make a move sooner or later, but for now, he's invited you for the chance to see a new rival with his own eyes. I'll let you in on a little secret. He actually thinks very highly of you. This isn't the first year the tournament's been held. Why was I just invited this year? I mean no offense when I say this, but both you and your state were frankly inconsequential, not significant enough for our attention. But your victory at Brevoy's border and your subsequent coronation changed all that. In truth, King Irvedi only invites those he's identified as worthy rivals to the tournament. So Irvedi considers me a rival. I didn't think I'd give him any cause for a feud. The unfortunate reality is that your very existence, along with the strength of your kingdom, or with the strength your kingdom has acquired, is cause enough. What happened were you to join with Mavone against Patax? Or perhaps you might seek to extend your lands west and not stop at the border. What if merchants from Brevoy began traveling through your lands, bypassing Patax entirely? And of course, the most important question, Moscani's grin turns predatory. Do you sit securely on your throne, or does Patax stand a chance of expanding east? At least you're honest with me. I appreciate the warning. Think nothing of it. I have the greatest interest in seeing how events will unfold. Alright, farewell. Until we meet again, and I'm sure we will.
Without a doubt.
Well, that doesn't sound ominous. Okay, I recognize his last name. That's who we need to talk to move things along, I think. My regards, King Donald. Gasper Liakenza at your service. Now tell me about yourself. I'm the head of the Liakenza family, and master of what remains of the Iron Fox Trade House. Before Irvedi took the crown, it would have been my family receiving you at our house. Alas, we're simply guests at his celebration now. What caused you to lose influence? It's a dark and sordid story, and I swear I'd give my life to learn the full truth of it. Patax was founded by 4 families and ruled by their 4 trade houses for centuries. We quarreled from time to time, of course, and property didn't always change hands peacefully, but none of us would dream of impinging on another family's lawful rights. And then Irvedi appeared. We underestimated him, thought him nothing more than another adventurer like the thousands of others in the region. He handled matters quickly and chaotically, with assets running through his fingers faster than chips at a card table. His wealth grew rapidly, but he still wasn't a big fish, for a while at least. He invited representatives from all the trade houses to play cards. No one really knows what exactly happened, but by morning he owned most of their assets, including the crown. They suspected a rigged game and sent representatives from the families to discuss the matter with him. And then a wave of disappearances rolled across the city. My brothers, the former kings of Patax, disappeared, along with many other honorable people. Irvedi made it clear that the lives of his hostages would depend upon our obedience. He was king, and our wealth and power lay in ruins. Sorry, I had to take a sip of my coffee. Throat's getting a little hoarse reading all this stuff. Now, the citizens of Patax seem to love Irvedi. It would seem so, wouldn't it? Yet appearances can be deceiving. Yes, he's made many rich and happy. There are many more lives he's dragged through the mud for his own endless celebration. Trust me, there are many who would gladly put an end to his rule, but the king has so many spies that everyone's afraid to even discuss it. Ask the head of his precious academy, Atalia Guitar, and what she thinks, or maybe High Priest Dre Yarns. You see their mouths shut tighter than an oyster shell. Who might you recommend I meet here? I'd do better to tell you whom you should avoid. There's a gloomy, sickly-looking gnome wandering about. Karn Viril, chief of the so-called Thieves Guild. He's Irvedi's primary business partner, and they understand the word business quite broadly. You said the so-called Thieves Guild. What is it he really does? Certainly not picking pockets. The fellow came from Numeria shortly after Irvedi started his reign. I won't lie, the Pataxian trade houses occasionally made some questionable deals, but before Irvedi, those like Viril were driven from the city faster than you can say first dose is free. The man's a drug pusher. He sells the blood brush extract. They say it enhances all senses extraordinary and evokes vivid visions, but also affects minds and could be toxic if in repeated doses. I saw that those who overuse it, they could not put 3 words together. Because of Viril, half of the city's youth is on his trash. Take the gold, supply poison to his subjects. Irvedi's soul is black and venomous. And Irvedi's pleased as punch about it. The more time the citizens spend in altered states, the fewer questions they ask. The gnome also uses his own product. It affects both the mind and the body. He fears his own shadow, seeing deception and trickery everywhere. Those who deal with him hope for fabulous profits, but they more often than not end up at the bottom of the river. Alright, farewell. It was an honor speaking with you, Your Highness. Okay, let's cast another haste, because this area is huge. Oh, Dre Yarns, he was mentioned by that guy. Oh, new face of the celebration. I'm pleased to meet you. Dre Yarns, High Priest of Calistria, at your disposal. Octavia smiles at the cleric. Praise be the savored sting. Dre Yarns, may Our Lady's charity never leave us. Hera mumbles. Vanity, futility, vexation of spirit. Calistria is the goddess of revenge. I'm sure many mention Irvedi in their prayers to her, and probably not with the kindest of words. You're well versed in matters both spiritual and political. Of course, it is not my place to say what people pray to my lady for. Be right that many would wish revenge upon him. To be honest, our temple has only benefited from his rise to power. Irvedi isn't stingy with his donations, and the celebrations he holds are beyond all praise. The king himself, though, his exorbitant pride is irritating. Calistria dislikes those who would place themselves above the gods. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if she teaches him a lesson sooner or later. That I could deal with, though. It's something else that I find harder and harder to tolerate. You see, the goddess patronizes bodily love, but only that given voluntarily. It is sometimes difficult for me to protect our young priests and priestesses from his unsolicited attentions. I fear to imagine how hard it must be for our beautiful Anamede, or what Atalia Guitar must deal with. The king is said to often mistake the academy for his personal harem. Oh boy. Do many Pataxians worship Calistria? Of course, she's been the patron goddess of Patax since its founding. The goddess likes our joyful town, and its citizens love her in return. If you ever visit Patax, you would surely enjoy the proud spikes of her cathedral. It's the most beautiful building in the city. Man, a lot of reading. Who might you recommend I meet here? There are many prominent people here as usual. My first recommendation would be Maestro Anamede. Many would give their lives to exchange words with her. She's Patax's finest singer and the finest of its women. I've heard you're not exactly happy with Irvedi's reign. The priest looks away. Oh no, I've no issue with his reign. He's a generous donor, and the celebrations he hosts are beyond praise. Alright, I've already read that. Alright, farewell. May the grace of the goddess always be with you. Oh, that's Anamede. Alright, let's talk to her. O'Donnell, the famed baron. No, excuse me. The king of Donlin now. Has come to visit us. It is such a delight to see you here. Maestro Belavar, well, do you remember me? Lindsay blurts out, turning bright red. Ah, Lindsay. Of course I remember you. You and your nonsense at the poetics exam. I hear you have your own publishing house now. I didn't take you for the entrepreneurial sort, but I'm happy you finally found your calling. Tell me, are the songs you composed for Irvedi as bold as the ones you sang at my capital? Have my humble verses so offended you that you still recall their sting? Please, your highness. It doesn't behoove a person of your standing to take umbrage against a petty bard. Don't you know the old proverb? The tunes are chosen by the one who pays the piper. Tell me about yourself. You could have easily asked any of my admirers who Anamede Belavar is. That'd be about 3/4 of Patax. The rest are all my haters. Haha. You don't get to be the best among a city of poets and musicians without gathering a few enemies along the way. Why should I concern myself with hacks and soreheads? What can you tell me about King Irvedi? Anamede's face darkens for a moment, but she quickly regains her sweet smile. Love him or hate him, you can't deny he's a great man. Patax was a boring place before him. Only pirates, fences, and other scum did any business in the area. But then King Irvedi came and turned it into the cultural capital of the region. With him in charge, the arts have flourished, and the city's been filled with songs, paintings, and statues. I just pray that Calistria breathes the same love of the arts into the withered hearts of some of the other rulers in the region, who'd prefer to squander their resources on saber rattling. Some may say that King Irvedi doesn't have a taste for arts. Any successful person gets haters spreading dirty rumors about them. You should hear the things they say about me. Pay it no mind. Our king is a man of exquisite taste with appreciation for all kinds of art. Does the king have any enemies? Of course he has enemies. Lots of them. Just like anyone who's actually accomplished anything in life. Take some of the old trade houses, for example. Lee Kenza and some others, whom he stripped of their power. They'd love to see him at the bottom of the river, but even now, in their mutual sorry states, they can't manage to work together. There's also Ursay Khaleesi, captain of the guard. He was just seething with indignation when the king brought new rules into the city. But who wants to listen to the whining of failures like them? Irvedi brought a golden age on Patax. I've heard King Irvedi could be too persistent in his flirtations. Anamede purses her lips for a moment, then replies slowly, choosing her words carefully. I'd prefer not to discuss the private life of His Highness with strangers, much less my own. The details of any interactions between us will remain just that, between us. Let's please discuss another topic. So much reading. I'm sorry if I'm reading too quickly. If I'm starting to slur my words, but there's a lot of vocabulary to shift through. Tell me about the Rushlight Tournament. Our beloved king has run this tournament once in several years since he took the throne. Guests from all over the River Kingdoms come for it, from Daggermark to Mavon. It's a pity Brevoy didn't honor us with any representatives this year. I guess the Aldori aren't in a very festive mood right now. On the bright side, we get to host you for the first time, and Calistria willing, it won't be the last. Who might you recommend I meet here? It depends on what you're looking for. If you're in the mood for pleasant company, well, you've already met me. And if you're in the mood for some schadenfreude, then you could listen to the whining of Gasper Liakanza. His family lost the Pataxian crown in a card game. Or maybe Atalia Gitarin, the headmaster of the academy, who seems to think her skill at bureaucracy makes her a good bard. And if thrills are what you're after, especially the shivers down your spine kind, try speaking with Karn Viril, head of the Thieves Guild. Well, farewell. Enjoy the celebration.
I will guide us.
Okay. Hey, you can't be here. This is the High King Irvedi's camp. I'm aware he's the one who invited me. We're not supposed to allow anyone in. The king commands it. We will, but at this point you could be a thief for all we know.
We march ahead.
Okay, can I sneak in another way? Hey, what's this? Sky metal cogwheel.
Forwards.
Nope, won't let me in. Okay, that's fine. Did I miss somebody right here? Oh, there it is.
Without a doubt.
Natalia Guitarin. Greetings, Your Highness. I'm Natalia Guitarin, Headmaster of the Academy of Grand Arts. Welcome to the tournament. Is this your first time here? I'll be honest, I'm delighted to hear what you've done with Donland. Not so long ago, it was little more than a hole in the ground, but you've brought up real civilization. Bravo. Lindsay has some interesting news for you. Yes, Professor. Professor Arebold found refuge in our capital. And you know what? He's writing his memoirs of his time at the Academy. I'm sure it'll be an entertaining read for anyone in Patax. No, I'll have Aveston. A book, you say? How brave of him. Hope he doesn't neglect to include the details of his dismissal. Natalia's voice is ice cold and bone dry. What details? What do you mean? Irvedi kicked Professor Arebold out for just being too smart, didn't he? I'm sure that's exactly how he described it. They called him the Insightful for a reason, after all. Anyway, forgive me, but I've no interest in discussing this topic further. If you'd like to exchange idle gossip, I'm sure you can find much more willing and interesting company here. I suspect you know to whom I'm referring. Let's see, how fares the Academy? Oh, just splendid. If you ever find time to visit Patax, I'd gladly give you a tour. We're currently holding an exhibition of our graduates' works. Though it's a pity that... No, it's fine. Believe me, we have plenty worth coming to see and hear. I get the impression that something's upsetting you. Oh no, please don't worry. I'm just disappointed that one of our best students, Trebrisent of Cordelon, couldn't be here today. He could be singing in any capital, but the king chose to send him to some backcountry village called Littletown. Of course, His Highness would never squander talent, so I'm sure we'll hear from Trebrisent again. But still, I do worry. I hear you're not exactly thrilled by Irvedi's power. Forgive me, Your Highness, but this is defamation. My students and I owe everything we have to King Irvedi. If not for him, the Academy of Grand Arts wouldn't even exist. It would be base ingratitude on my part to engage in any conspiracy against our patron. You must have me confused with Anamid Belavara. She's certainly always ready to bite the hand that feeds. Or caresses. Who might you recommend I meet here? There are many respectable attendees today. You already know King Irvedi, of course. You should be sure to speak with High Priest Drade Yarns as well. He's truly a wise and honorable man. If I may give you one piece of advice, beware of Karn Viril. He may be business partners with King Irvedi himself, but those who deal with him usually find themselves in a bad way. Since he showed up in the city, our dear captain of the guard, Ursay Khaleesi, has so much more work than that he... Natalia stopped short, covering her mouth. Forgive me. I probably said too much. What did you mean when you mentioned the circumstances surrounding Arebold the Insightful's dismissal? Forgive me, Your Highness, but I'd prefer not to discuss the subject. If you're truly so interested, I'm sure there are more than a few slanderers who would gladly share all the dirty details with you. Interesting.
Our path leads on.
Sorry about that edit. I had started the Rushlight Tournament without go back and talking to Anamid for Lindsay, and I failed her quest. So let's go talk to Anamid before we start the Rushlight Tournament. I believe Lindsay had a question for you. Oh? I just hope this isn't about any of the lectures I used to give at... Oh, I just hope it isn't about any of the lectures I used to give you at the Academy. Go ahead and ask away. Anamid smiles encouragingly at Lindsay. Lindsay turns bright red, takes a deep breath, and blurts out, "Sorry, but I really need to know the truth. Why did Irvedi kick Professor Arebold out of the Academy?" Oh yes, he did move to your kingdom, didn't he? I'm curious how he portrayed his dismissal. I bet it was something like a poem in 6 verses recounting the tale of a tyrant ousting a poor but honest scientist for telling the truth. Reality is much more mundane. Irvedi didn't fire Arebold. Natalia did. And I have to give it to her. This time, unlike most times, she was completely right. That can't be. And why did Natalia expel Arebold? Well, Arebold is a very fine teacher, of course, but he pays too much attention to how his favorite students perform in class, and not enough to their extracurricular activities. Why worry if they steal a trinket here or there, or maybe rough someone up on occasion, so long as their poetry and music are exemplary? Predictably, this led to a sad end. What was supposed to be just another innocent joke from one of his favorites, Alandi, led to someone's death. It was an accident, certainly. The kids just underestimated their own strength. Natalia expelled a lot of them, and as always, Arebold went to stand up for them. But this time, he discovered that her patience was not boundless. She blamed him, said that he'd let his troublemakers run wild, so he could get out of the academy along with them. She told him she won't tolerate any more bullying, even if it's coming from genius students. I understand it's odd to hear won't tolerate from Italia Guitarin, but that's what really happened. Pale, Lindsay looks at Ganymede with huge eyes, unable to utter a word. If Irvedi didn't banish Eobold, then why did he send those cutthroats after him? He planned to return the old man to Patax and make Italia reinstate him into the academy. Or failing that, he at least wanted to keep him from going to you. Eobold the Insightful is a prominent name. Of course, Irvedi would want the teacher serving him, rather than his neighbors. In the hands of a ruler, even death is political currency. The none wish to recall that, sooner or later, fate will use it to pay them as well. Why would Italia hide the circumstances around Eobold's dismissal? She doesn't like to discuss the Academy's internal affairs. Behind that neat facade, there are too many events she's looked the other way on over the years. All in good faith, of course. Thank you for telling us the truth. I'm not sure you should be thanking me. I see poor Lindsay's not too happy with this truth. Hey, come on girl, cheer up. Being disappointed by people is practically a professional necessity for people like us. Whatever I may have said before, you're not a bad bard, and that means sometimes you have to face the music. Lindsay gulps and whispers, thank you. Enjoy the celebration. I can't believe it. Teacher lied to me all this time. I want to learn the truth as soon as we get back to the capital. Okay, so that's finally done. So I forgot to talk to her before I started the Rushlight Tournament, and it caused us to fail the quest. And so I just went back, reloaded, talked to everyone I had talked to previously. Alright, so let's start the Rushlight Tournament, finally. Your Royal Highness, welcome to the Rushlight Tournament. My name is Nuncio Arpai, and I have the honor of being His Highness King Irvedi's Master of Ceremonies. You could say the organization of this tournament rests on my shoulders. If you need anything, I'm at your disposal. Tell me about the Rushlight Tournament. Since starting his reign over Patax, His Highness King Irvedi has held this tournament once in several years, inviting guests from the high society of nearby kingdoms to attend. Today we have guests from Daggermark, Mivon, Gralton, and Timon. Unfortunately, Brevoort did not honor us with their representatives this year. It's entirely possible that recent events and the stressful political climate have put them in a less than festive mood. We're pleased to have Your Highness in attendance for the first, and hope not the last time this year. What events are on the schedule? The tournament consists of 3 contests. First, the participants will display their strength and dexterity in the Fisher's Triathlon, a tribute to local crafts and trades, so to speak. Then we'll be measuring competitors' wits in the Boasting Contest. There's a reason we're the cultural capital of the region after all. And finally, the evening will wrap up with some mock combat and a drunken melee. Then His Majesty will announce the winner of the tournament, and we'll all enjoy a festive banquet followed by a splendid fireworks show. What about that flighting? I'm good at that. Flighting. I'm ready to participate in the Fisher's Triathlon. Let's begin. A trumpet sounded over the arena, announcing the commencement of the Fisher's Triathlon. We were to distinguish ourselves in 3 sports, if you could call them such. You be the judge, dear reader. The first round was fish carrying, if you can believe it. They built narrow bridges over pits of mud and placed barrels on either end. One side filled with fish and the other side empty. The goal was to get all the fish from one side to the other, barehanded without falling into the mud. I'm sure this is just what you imagined for a royal tournament. Throwing fish at your opponents was prohibited, but there's one unofficial but well understood rule in this tournament. Don't get caught. We had to decide which of us would participate, as well as how fair we wanted to play. And the stealth check is guaranteed, athletics is not, so I'm going to pick stealth. We try to cheat by discreetly throwing fish at our opponents. Competing honestly among such company would be more embarrassing than losing. As Ekandaya ran across the bridges with heaps of fish in his arms, he deftly tossed a fish beneath the feet of the Gralton competitor, who slipped and fell in the mud. Another fish found its way right into the Daggermark competitor's forehead, sending him down alongside the Graltoner. The judges didn't notice a thing. We won the first round. The second round was untying knots. Competitors would be tied up on poles resembling shipmasts, and they had to escape the ropes. We once again had a choice to make. We noticed a sharpened coin glistening on the Daggermark competitor's mouth, and the Gralton participant had a blade in hand. We exposed the cheaters, leaving us with fewer rivals. The judges escorted the cheaters out of the arena, the crowd laughing and whistling all the while. With the third of the competition gone, Artavia easily outpaced the others, untangling the ropes and making her way to the judges while the others still wriggled in their bonds like flies in a spider web. So we won 1 round at least, the third would be crucial. We'd won 2 out of 3 rounds, we seemed to have our victory in the bag. With the rivals we were dealing with, there was no time to relax. The last round of the tournament was diving for river pearls. Huge tubs were filled with mussels and river water, and some empty jars had been placed on sets of scales. We'd have to open the mussels with our bare hands, gather the pearls, and deposit them in our team's jar. Of course, if playing fair wasn't a priority, we could try weighing down the jar with other things as well. And this is guaranteed as well, so we try to cheat extensively and get all of our rivals disqualified. The pinnacle of cunning is to make it seem like everyone else is cheating, while coming out completely clean yourself. While each of our rivals tried adding a stone or two to their jars, Octavia didn't hesitate to add a few handfuls of mud to each of theirs. In the end, our team's jars came out the lightest, but the others were so heavy, the judges decided to check their contents for authenticity. Oh, how the crowd laughed when our opponent's jars poured out stones and mud, while our jar contained only pearls. It was a complete triumph. Every team but ours was disqualified, and we were awarded the victory by default. Easy peasy. Alright, I'm ready to participate in the Boasting Contest. Let's do it. The tournament continued with the Boasting Contest. The first participant, a man from Daggermark, stepped up to the podium and told a raunchy story about him sneaking into a temple of Calistria and seducing all the priestesses, including the High Priestess, in a single night. The crowd was particularly amused by the suggestive glances he kept casting toward one of the guests from Timon. She simply smiled mysteriously in response. The second participant was a guest from Gralton, who told a completely implausible tale about his travels across other planes, where he battled undead hordes and defeated a blood-curdling monster. He was an average storyteller at best. He'd lucky to get a C for that story at the Academy, but the listeners were inexplicably elated. Suspicious, we took a closer look at the crowd, and of course, we spotted a bard using some tricks of the trade, and likely a little magic to aid the Gralton man's performance. Pointing out the cheating to the judges. The judges were reluctant to believe us, but the cheating was easy to spot once you knew to look for it. Once they concluded we were right, the guest from Gralton was disqualified and forced to leave the podium in disgrace. When it was Patax's turn, the kingdom's honor was represented by Anemid Bellavara, a sweet-voiced singer whose smile could win over the most withered of hearts. Oh, Anemid. While her voice was smoother than silk, her words stung like arrows. With a soft smile, Anemid told everyone how she spent months in our kingdom, learning our secrets and instigating a riot. Of course, the honest trade of the bard and the shady dealings of the spy often go hand in hand. But, oh Anemid, who could have expected such an ugly blow from such a lovely lady? She described in surprising and exceptionally critical detail how much the citizens of our young state suffered under the atrocities of the troll assaults and the magic plague. She never stooped to actual lies, but she made it sound as though our king, Baron at the time, was simply drinking and debauching while his subjects struggled. She made our crusade against Mordecai look like a cunning conquest of Varnhold, and the war with the Tiger Lords was characterized as an irresponsible venture. Talk about cruel and unfair. When Anemid finished and left the stage, it was our turn to perform. What feats did our participant decide to tell in their performance? This is guaranteed, so he regaled them with tales of our victories over the Stag Lord, the Trolls, Mordecai, and Armag. It wasn't easy getting the crowd excited for this story. They were all glorious feats, of course, but that was the problem. The audience had already heard them time and time again. Donald used all the eloquence he could bring to bear to breathe new life into these old stories. The audience hung on his every word, sometimes laughing uncontrollably, sometimes holding their breath to avoid missing anything. Donald finally brought the story to an end. The viewers gave him a standing ovation as he left the podium. The woman from Timon, a priestess of Calistria, went last. She told stories of her love affairs in faraway countries and on other planes, casually mentioning an unpleasant disease she contracted over her journeys that took her a long time to get rid of. Hearing that, the participant from Daggermark paled and grabbed at his belt, bringing roaring laughter from the rest of the audience. And finally, the judges announced the winner, Donald. He walked up to the podium to thunderous applause and took another bow. Whew. Man, all this reading, like I'm struggling. Oh boy. Alright, back up here. A quick save just to be safe.
Forwards.
Alright, the drunken melee. Let's do it. Oh, because I don't have a choice. Time I'm not going to use my Warhammer.
Stand with me.
Just a quick jab to the back. I can take more than one hit. I love those little jabs, like those quick jabs. That's how you should hit people in fights, so your swings aren't telegraphed. Alright, the tournament's finished, isn't it? I'd like to know who won. Yes, His Highness is just about to make a speech announcing the winner. Look, everyone's gathering around now.
Lords and ladies, another Rushlight Tournament has come to an end. I'd like to thank all of you who honored this event with your presence. My friends, I'm happy to see all of you, but I'd like to give a special welcome to one guest who found themselves invited here for the first time. Today, we had the Baron, no, excuse me, it's King now, isn't it? Of a majority of what was once the stolen lands. Thank you for coming, my darling. I can call you that, right? I thank you with all my heart. I first learned of him from my friend Stefano Mosconi. To be honest, his report was less than flattering. Impassable swamps, monsters galloping about, and a complete absence of any valuable resources. Nothing more than a dirty hole ruled by another bandit lord, hardly worthy of your attention. That's what he wrote back then. I'm so happy he was wrong. Truth be told, even now traveling that domain is a less than pleasurable experience. Some roads have appeared, but their safety leaves much to be desired. Take the sad story of the poor Toman Henvaki from Gralton. He set off to those lands and hasn't been seen since. His brother Edrist went to find the poor fellow, and what happened? He returned empty-handed. Toman seems to have vanished into thin air, like hundreds of travelers before him. At least Edrist was lucky, I suppose. He managed to come back alive. That's certainly considered fortunate for those who decide to swing through those lands.
I found his brother's body, okay? I got evidence.
And the hunt the Baron put on, clearly imitating my tournament? It was beyond description. While guests were out hunting hydras and owl bears, the latter came from behind and ate at the banquet table, along with all the servants. Some celebration, right?
Your words ooze poison. Is this how you show hospitality? If I've offended you in some way, just tell me and I'll offer my apologies.
No, forgive me, I don't wish to seem impolite. But getting back to the subject, all I really wanted to get at was that His Highness is a personage truly as extraordinary as his lands, and I'm happy to see him at this celebration. And now it's time to announce the winner of the tournament. This year, all 3 contests were won by guests from one kingdom. I'm not sure what charms, tricks, or divine intervention helped him, but let's hear it for the winner! Your Highness, if you please. I know you're not exactly a master of ceremonies, but please try to say something articulate to my guests.
Your Highness, dear guests, attending this tournament was a great honor and a true pleasure. I thank you all for an unforgettable day. Hope my victory didn't offend. No, let's do this. Despite everybody's efforts to smear you in the eyes of the guests, the audience is elated. Your speech garners a hearty round of applause.
And now, with the competition over and the prize awarded, let's get on with the main part of the celebration. The banquet! I can hear your stomachs growling from here. Let's get to the table, and later we'll see an unforgettable fireworks show.
Is that it? I'll get to see the fireworks too? No, wait for news to come. Okay. Well, good. That'll give me an opportunity to take care of the companion quest that I have built up. Alright, we're going to call the episode here, and the next one we'll head back towards our lands and try to take care of some of our companion quests. Now, why is this not connected anymore? Oh, never mind, because I went up this way. Never mind. Alright, thanks for watching, and I hope to see y'all in the next episode.